Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
He is Rusty. This is Squishmallow.
Squishmallow.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan
said that.
Yeah. Hey, season 4, episode 8, Not in My Backhoe.
Not in My Backhoe.
Yeah, and on Hulu and on IMDb, it's named the same.
Okay, so they got it right
nice.
this time.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. That's become a theme for us here. The inconsistencies on Hulu, and I wonder if there's like a person who's doing that just said, I'm going to take creative liberty with this and just put whatever I want.
Maybe.
Or they were just looking at the sheet too fast while they were typing, and they're like, oh, okay.
What I'm thinking is maybe it's a difference between like script and on air or something like that, you know?
Yeah, probably.
All right, so, by the way, let me tell you guys, if you could, go to patreon.com/blah, B-W-A-A-A.
Please.
Just check it out. There's not much there right now, but there is a $3 tier where you can just support us, and if you feel so inclined, we'd sure appreciate it. That's the hard sell.
Go do that
right there.
Yeah, do that for us. That would be cool. And there's going to be new content and stuff like that we're going to put there as we develop and figure out what kind of stuff we're going to put.
All the notes, all the extra stuff that we do.
And eventually, once we have communicated it well enough and everything's communicated, we're going to slowly start taking down back catalog off of Spotify and everywhere and putting it to Patreon so that in order to get access to that, you've got to, open the door.
I have this big itchy patch on my hand, and I don't know where it came from. Like, it's just itchy. I've been putting cortisone.
Did you
and
put
stuff
calamine
like that.
on it? Maybe?
I hadn't put calamine on it. Maybe I need to cut the oxygen off.
Or is it like a bug sting or something? You should get like some tobacco and spit on it and then put it on there.
That sounds like a lot to do.
You never had that as a kid? Like an old person do that to you?
I think I peed on a jellyfish sting one time.
I got a bee sting one time, and I watched my dad. He smoked cigarettes at the time. He broke a cigarette in half, spit on the cigarette tobacco, and put it on my hand. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, it'll suck the poison out.
I don't know about sucking the poison out, but it definitely, I think what it does is cut the oxygen off from these things, and that's what helps them feed. Yeah, I don't know. It hadn't spread or anything. It's just like hell. I don't know. Anybody got any home remedies? Let me know. All right. So season 4, episode 8, Not in My Backhoe. We start no bell, no yell. And it's a weird opening because basically we've got a backhoe coming from one end of the alley and a big truck carrying a septic tank coming from the other end of the alley. You don't really know what's happening when it first starts because they're going right at each other like playing chicken. And so we see that, and then we realize that the guys are driving them. In the truck with the sewage tank on it is Bill and Dale. In the backhoe is Hank and Boomhauer. They're honking at each other, and then finally they screech at a stop. Hank's like, yeah, and everybody's just so happy and all that stuff. Bill jumps out and goes, Dale won just by a hair. I don't know what they were racing at. Like,
I'm not sure where the race was either. There was no apparent race.
I guess he got closer, but I don't know. Anyway, they all get out and they're all cheering and laughing. Dale says, she is power, enormous yellow power. And Hank says, I feel like my whole life's been leading to this day, so let's see how you guys did.
And Bill, imagine the highlight of your life being digging up a hole for a septic tank.
That's right. Well, I think it's just a big machinery. I think they just love the big machinery.
I really like trains.
Do you?
Yeah, I love trains.
Okay,
really love
Turtle
trains.
Boy.
Turtle Boy, yeah. I like
trains.
turtles. Yeah. No, I really like trains, yeah.
I had when my son was real small, we had his birthday party. And, he's got his birthday is in July.
Yeah.
And so it's tough to get school friends there because most of them are out on vacation and things like that, right? So he had one kid show up to this birthday party. It was at Doc and Lottie's. I don't know if you remember Doc and Lottie's.
I remember Doc and Lottie's. That was out off of Franklin, right?
Yeah, it was right there on 35, where ITT was.
And I know what you're talking about.
Some other for-profit school.
Yeah.
They'll teach you how to drive a diesel. And so anyway, we were having this kid comes over to me. He's holding his Dr. Pepper, mind you. Well, maybe there were two kids, but anyway, one of the only kids that showed up. He looks right at me. I'm a full-grown adult, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, my favorite vehicle on wheels is a train. And then he pours his drink all over his head. I don't know what that kid's future looked like. But,
my mom's dad was an engineer. And when I was a kid, he had trains inside of a museum. He had train engines that he had designed in Manchester. The engines or whatever. Yeah.
So is it Thomas's house?
Manchester Museum of Trains or something
Thomas
like that.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Sure.
He's an engine, not a train.
He's an engine. That's right. He's not a train. The train is like all inclusive.
All inclusive,
right?
Yeah, because some people will mistakenly call just the engine by itself a train, and it's not. It's an engine.
It's the engine. Then you got the caboose.
Pisses
then you got the
train fans off.
The different kinds of cars. All that stuff. Yeah. And then all the graffiti artists. Okay, so he says, all right, let's see how you guys did. Bill comes in and goes, it's the biggest septic tank they had. They sold one just like it to a bowling alley in Austin. I don't know if that's something you want to cheer about, that you've got the biggest septic tank. Dale says, guy tried to put it in his little home unit. I told him, you don't know Bill. Bill goes, yeah, that's what he said. So he is saying that Bill excretes so much waste that he needs the very, very biggest septic tank possible.
That's insane.
Man. Hank says, it's a real shame we have to put her in the ground. Yeah, it is, Hank. All right, so
just think right now in all the backyards of America, how many covered up shitholes there are.
Oh, absolutely.
From past, people who didn't have indoor plumbing. Imagine right now in small town America, just go out in your backyard and just think somewhere out there is a covered up hole full of shit.
Where I grew up, we had a septic tank. We were out in Robinson, and so that's before it even got there. Yeah. And I could remember probably once, maybe twice a year, it would stop up and flood the yard.
Did they have the water?
It's a wonderful smell.
Did they have the water thing out there off that road? I can't remember what road it is now. It's right there
like
in
the big
town.
Water tank? Water tower?
Where you've got where they have the water storage deal at in Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had all that out there then?
Well,
like
it wasn't
drinking water?
and this is inside baseball for everybody listening, but
it's all good.
if you drive up the hill into Robinson, we were at the bottom of the hill before you go up.
Yeah.
So we were like half Waco, half Robinson.
Oh, you're right there in like the Brewster Street area.
Mm-hmm. I was right in front of that, Meadowbrook. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where my grandma's house was on Brewster Street.
Oh, really? Where at on Brewster?
Worst street, probably.
Oh, it's a terrible street.
God awful, still awful historically. I don't know, somewhere like closer towards like the end.
That's where I was.
By like Robinson area.
My grandparents were on
towards the high school. Sorry, the university.
Yeah, my grandparents were on Darden. I grew up on Meadowbrook, and then my first house I ever owned was on Brewster.
Yeah, my grandma.
And
she
it was
inherited.
It was in that last block.
Was it? She inherited. It's on that side of the street.
Yeah, I got you.
She inherited that house from her aunt.
I love that about like when we describe houses and where places are. It's on that side of the street. We never say left, right, or anything like that. It's just say it's over there by that thing.
Well, the direction we're facing is how I feel like it. But
sure.
I think does that happen in your neighborhood? I mean, we do that in Texas. We say like whatever direction we're facing in, you just gotta like visualize, because if he knows the street and I know the street, and I'm like.
The absolute best thing I remember about growing up over there, though, is, I just get on my bike and I'd be gone all day. There was a creek down.
It's a very King of the Hill-esque.
It is very much so.
Yeah.
It was there was a creek that ran under Old Robinson Road.
Yeah.
And that's where all the teenagers threw their porn. So
I used to,
we were able to find that.
We came and visited in '94 from England, and I remember sitting on my grandma's back. She had a screened-in back porch, and I was feeding her dog Play-Doh.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah, I fed her dog like a good half container of Play-Doh.
Beautiful turds.
I don't remember the turds, but I remember nobody knew about it, and I guess this is the confession.
What a colorful inside he has.
Yeah.
But anyway, before you get to the creek, we could go down to the very end of the street, and because that was before they built the school there and all that stuff, you could see all the way across and watch the movies at the drive-in.
We should start a podcast called Hometown Heroes.
That's
and we
right.
should just tell stories from our hometown.
I got a couple stories. Okay, so next we are in Bill's yard, and Hank is in the backhoe, and he's digging up part of Bill's yard. Bill is just watching. Hank is getting a little frustrated. He's like, I should have hit the old tank by now, Bill. Are you sure you surveyed it precisely? Bill's like, sure. I mean, that's my recollection. Mm-hmm. He goes, there's that's where it is. And then he's like, oh, my mistake. Sorry. He just moves him all over the yard, puts the little flag all over the place. He hadn't surveyed squat. He doesn't know where the hell his septic tank is.
Yeah, no, you don't.
So
you got to survey it, and most of them have like a clean out that you could open, so you could pour chemicals and stuff into your shit tank.
That was my thing. I thought something should be sticking up.
That's probably the problem with his tank is he's not putting no fluids in it.
Oh, come on, he's not doing anything.
Microbials, because they put like that microbial stuff that eats at the poop.
Yeah, he's not doing anything. Of that.
You know what we're talking about, Mason?
You got to put the microbes in your septic tank to eat up your poop.
I've only lived in public housing, so I don't know.
Okay, there you go. Okay. He knows what a bathtub toilet is, though.
I know what a septic tank is. I've just never had the need for one. Also, I'm just confused on why you need one in a suburb.
Because the plumbing was not there yet, basically. So, like,
there's a lot of suburbs that were like that back in the day. It's not so many anymore, but there was a ton of them back then.
Where we lived, the original pipes coming in were clay pipes. And so they would break all the time, and trees would grow into them, and all kinds of. We had all kinds of trouble with stupid sewage and things. Okay, so they're out there digging around. Time moves very slowly out there, but he's digging all these different holes. And Bill says, "Well, maybe the tank's in the front. I don't know." And Hank's like, "Oh God, you just killed your whole back lawn, a perfectly innocent lawn." Bill says, "Okay, big shot. Where's your tank?" He goes, "Side lawn, 8 feet out, 5-7 inches from the pavement." I mean, he's just like boom, 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 boom. I know exactly where my tank is.
9 feet inches. Yeah, 9 feet 7 inches from the pavement.
Bill's like, side lawn. Mine's on the side lawn too. Okay, Bill, that's enough. You see Bill putting the stake in the ground one more time, and Hank says, "Bill, you can't just mark where you think it might be. That's not real marking." Bill's like, "Well, the flag is in." Dale comes around the corner in the backhoe, and he goes, "I am the hoe master. Hear me hoe." Hank, of course, is terrified. "Dale, no. We hear some screaming, and then, of course, Dale hits the house with the freaking backhoe. Knocks a big hole in the side of the house. Dale says, "Hank, you were right about it being complicated, but wrong to make me want to try it so badly."
Blaming it on Hank.
That's right. So Hank just kind of walks off in a huff. Bill's like, "Hey, where are you going?" He goes, "To buy the L pipes for your septic tank."
Road trip.
Dale, of course, road trip. Hank says, "You're staying here." Bill's, "Can I come?" "No, I'll stay in the truck." And then Hank just drives off. He goes, "Oh, he was right. I never would have stayed in the truck."
Yeah, he knows, and he knows.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
That's why you're there.
All right, now we transition over to the Mega Alo Mart. And Hank is in the pipe the plumbing section, I presume, talking to a poor kid and a guy in a red vest. God, those give me some memories. I haven't worked at Sears wearing those damn red vests.
Sears red vests.
Oh my God, I hated those vests. Hank
were they itchy? Were they made out of wool or something?
No, they weren't. It was like when they put people on the short bus and they take them places.
I mean, special needs kids to school?
Not to school necessarily, but maybe like everybody goes to
like
the bowling alley or something like that.
Finger painting at the museum or
it's
something.
It's kind of the way you feel. Like you're like, well, why am I the dork in the red vest? You know, hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Maybe it was a bad analogy, but I'm just saying it's.
No, I totally understand.
It made you just stick out. You know, it was just look at me, I'm the dork in a red vest, and there was no function to the vest.
None.
There was no function. It just said Sears on it. So I mean, it could have been.
That's what it's like. The Walmart greeter wears the yellow vest instead of the blue one.
Well, you could have
so we know it's the greeter.
You could have achieved the same thing with just a name tag. It would have been fine. You know, it's not like on the back of it. Like at least at Walmart on the back it says "How can I help you?" or whatever. You know, on these it was just red. It was just red. But then again, Walmart's in business and Sears is gone. All right, so we're at the Megalomart. Hank is in the plumbing department. He goes, "No, that's a straight pipe. I'm looking for an L pipe," and he's holding the pipe up. The guy, this is the stupidest argument ever. The guy in the red vest goes, "L's are straight." He goes, "Okay, lowercase maybe, but okay, fine. I'm looking for a capital L pipe."
Oh my gosh,
bends at a right angle.
That's the problem. See, that's one of the things I hate is when you go to AutoZone and you go and you ask for, let me get a car part, and they're like, well, let me look on the computer.
Yeah.
And then they pull up, and then you got to sit there and, like, you can't just say, because some people are good, and you can tell at AutoZone who knows about cars and who doesn't. But some people, they have to literally ask you every single tiny. I'm like, you can't just, like there's a base model for everything, and that's what I drive the base model.
When I go to Home Depot or Lowe's, I feel bad for the folks that work there because there's two kinds of folks that work there, right? There's people they just hired off the street. Like
for
this
sure.
guy who doesn't know that pipes bend.
Doesn't know a damn thing. Yeah.
And then there's the older folks that you see in there, and they're usually working there because that store put them out of business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's funny. And it's like at the Megalomart. I mean, that's what we see later on. You know, it's like Walmart comes in and just kills these small towns.
Yeah.
Okay. So he goes, yeah, lowercase maybe, but I'm looking for a capital L pipe. It bends at a right angle. The guy just stares at him blankly and goes, pipes don't bend. All pipes are straight. Okay, all pipes are straight. He goes, all pipes can't be straight. If they were, your department store wouldn't be selling those U pipes behind your shoulder. They both look back at the U pipes. He goes, those aren't pipes. And then at that point, we start overhearing another argument that's being held right next to them with another guy who looks suspiciously like Hank. He just wears a button-up shirt instead.
Cleveland rocks.
Mr. Drew Carey.
Hey, go back and watch Drew Carey. It's
a great show.
It's on the Internet Archive for anybody that wants it. Type in Drew Carey like complete series or whatever. It'll pull it up. But not only is it a great show, I just don't understand why it didn't and that show was it should have went way longer.
Well, it was on for what, like 5 seasons or something like that?
Yeah,
I think it was on for
it was on for a good while.
3 to 5 seasons, I guess. And then Drew, I mean, you can't really cry for Drew Carey. I mean, getting the prices right. I mean, that's a pretty good gig.
It's a pretty good gig. I don't really like him in that position. I prefer they need to keep that. No, they need to keep that. What's that show they all do?
Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Whose Line Is It Anyway? Yeah. They need to keep that going.
Well,
Colin just canceled it for good. I think
that one was really good, and then it went into syndication for a while.
Oh, well, they never stopped making it.
And had the girl from Archer. Oh gosh, I can't remember her name, but the girl from Archer was the host.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, she's on Ghost Whisperer also as like the best friend.
Oh,
and I can't remember.
Yeah.
Hey, Mason,
Ghost
do you know her name?
Ghost
the girl that hosted Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I've never even seen that show.
Oh, okay. All right. Best friend on Ghost Whisperer. That's who hosted it. All right. And so we start overhearing this other argument by another guy with a flat top that kind of looks a lot like Hank, maybe just a tiny bit taller, and he's wearing different clothes. But basically, they're having the same argument. You hear from Hank, you're supposed to be, and then you hear from the other guy, there's more than one size. And then you hear from Hank, a plumbing associate. And then you hear from the other guy, they're different size holes. And you don't know what a pipe is. And then the two of them lock eyes. It's like it's like a love story. It really is. It's like a rom-com all of a sudden. So they lock eyes. And then the next thing we see is both of them walk into their truck. They get to their truck, and wouldn't you know it, they had the exact same truck.
The exact same
Hank's
Ford
trying-
F-150.
Yeah, Hank. What's that?
Oh, Aisha Tyler. I can't believe
Aisha Tyler. That it is. That it is.
Voice of Lana on Archer.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so thank you, Mason. That's exactly what I was looking for. Hank is there trying to get into his truck, and he realizes that he's got the wrong damn truck, because he just walked up to one of them.
Yeah, just walked up to a truck.
And same deal with the other guy. We don't know his name yet, and they're both trying it, and they realize they have the identical truck. Hank looks at him and just says, "Oh, nice truck." Drew Carey, I'm going to call him, says, "Does the job and then some." Hank says, "Did you get the recall notice about the belts?" He says, "Back in '94." He goes, "Yep, got it." So
that's funny. Got it.
It's just
so Hal
picking up some kind of L pipe. Hank says, "Yep, 2 1/4 inch." Hal says, "Septic." Hank says, "Yeah, it's my neighbors. We rented a loader backhoe for the job. I hear Mason's got a new design." Hal says, "I hear Mason's got a new design," and Hank says, "That's what I rented." And then Hal says to him, "Well, then I won't keep you." And they both just get in their truck and drive off.
Away. Yeah, they just drive off.
Now, as they're driving off in different directions, Hank does look into the rearview mirror kind of longingly. It's really weird. Like it's an odd little love story we got going on here. Now we're back at the Hill house. Peggy and Luann are at the kitchen table talking, and Luann says, "So then my professor says to me that I have the greatest potential of any junior college student that he's ever seen, and then he asked me to go to dinner to talk about it some more and drinks." And she just like she does her giggle, and you really expect Peggy to say, "Oh my God, Luann, you got to watch it."
Nah,
blah blah blah.
She's supporting this.
She goes, "Dinner and drinks, Luann, honey. I'm so proud of you." I mean, that's
so naive. Yeah.
Oh my God, she's leading her into the lion's den. That's not good at all. All right, so
it's the naivete for sure.
Hank comes walking in, and he seems happy. And Peggy says, "Well, what are you smiling about?" He goes, "Oh, well, I met a guy."
Oh,
he's looking in the fridge,
hey.
And Peggy's like, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, at the Megalo Mart. We had the same truck, same year, same color. Smart guy too. He knew what an L pipe was for. It was nice."
That's funny.
He's standing there with his Alamo beer. He got out of the fridge. He finally opens it. Peggy's like, "Are you going to see him again?" He says, "Oh, I don't know. It was just a one-time thing with a guy in a parking lot. That's all." One-time
thing with a guy in a parking lot.
Yeah.
The language here.
All right, now we're at the gas station.
Semantics. Context is everything.
That's it. Hank is filling up at the gas station. We don't see the name of the gas station, which I was a little disappointed in.
There's no gas station name.
And then Hal, which we only know because we watched the whole thing, pulls up behind Hank. Same truck, all that. They're both getting gas. Hal notices Hank, and he goes, "Hey, L-Pipe, how you doing? You filling up with super?" Hank's like, "Oh, my God, there is something wrong with this guy." He goes, "Regular," because Hank would never fill up with super. Hal says, "Just kidding." Hank's like, oh, okay. And then they both just kind of stand there at the pumps awkwardly. They nod to each other before they leave, and as they're getting into the trucks, Hank turns around to him and goes, "Hey, you got someplace you need to be, or maybe you want to grab a beer?" And then he again goes, "Imported?" Hank's like, "Oh shit, here it is. It's got to be something wrong with it." "What? No. And then he starts laughing. He goes, "Oh, imported. I got to watch you." All right, so this is my one and only note for this.
Here we go.
So they're talking about super versus unleaded and all that. Retail gasoline stations in the U.S. sell 3 main grades of gasoline. You always see the 3 different pumps.
Yep.
The different octane levels. Regular, it's generally 87. Don't know what that means. Mid-grade, generally 89 to 90. And then premium, 91 to 94. So here are the notes. Some high-performance vehicles require the use of premium fuel. These cars often use turbochargers to force air into the cylinders and create a higher compression ratio, so that's why you need a higher octane fuel. Other engines don't require high-octane fuel, but strongly recommend it. You won't damage the engine or void your warranty using a lower octane, but you'll get poor fuel efficiency and substandard performance.
Yeah.
And then it says using a higher grade of octane than your car requires won't do any harm. However, it usually doesn't make any difference. You're paying for more expensive gas without tangible benefits. The main exception for this is older vehicles. Cylinders and other components wear down over time, which introduces some slop to the engine and makes premature ignition more likely. Boy, as you get older, your premature ignition really starts to happen.
It's called spontaneous combustion is what it is.
If your old car's engine is knocking, high-octane fuel can help fix the problem. That may have not been funny, but it sure was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it can increase performance and efficiency, and it decreases emissions, actually.
Yes, absolutely can.
With the higher octanes.
So the next thing we see is they are sitting at, now wait, the name of this place that they're at is pretty highfalutin.
What's it called?
It's called The Sports Bar.
The Sports Bar.
It is the
Welcome
Sports
to the
Bar.
Sports Bar, hosted by the Sports Guys.
The Sports Guys from the
Come
sports
have some
thing.
sports drinks.
Sports.
Yeah, we've got some sports chili on the grill.
On the grill.
Yeah, on the grill. Yeah,
Gross.
they got it on the grill, yeah. You never seen people do that?
Anybody got a pot?
You ever seen people put a pot on the grill?
Cook it on the grill. Yeah, it's like cookie at the for the Cowboys.
Or a cookie on Treasure Planet. Or not Treasure Planet, or Treasure, what's it called? Oh, Atlantis, sorry. Cookie on Atlantis. He's the cook. He's the country cook on, his name's Cookie. He was the guy who cooked all the food. He was a country guy.
I don't know anything about Atlantis.
You ever seen the Atlantis movie?
Sorry, never seen it.
Michael J. Fox.
No, I'm just thinking of like the guy on the trail ride. You know, they always had Cookie, the guy who could cook all the meals and stuff over the campfire.
That's the joke on.
I'm assuming
that's the trope. Is he is a really redneck guy, chuck wagon style food. You know, a big old ladle full of country gravy and grits and stuff like that. Yeah.
That sounds pretty damn good.
His name was
honestly.
Cookie. Yeah, it does actually.
So they're both sitting there at the bar, not
grits though. I don't like grits.
They're not saying a
gravy
damn thing to each other, and they're just drinking their beer and eating peanuts. Exactly the same. We hear like some country music playing on the jukebox. Hank, he finally gets up and goes over to the pay phone. Once again, we're seeing a pay phone, 2 episodes in a row. A pay phone, kids. That was where you drop a quarter in and you make a call. And for your parents, it was a dime. Hank picks up the phone and he's calling Peggy. He goes, Peggy, we're having the best time. No, we didn't talk about that. No, he didn't mention that. No, that didn't come up either. Look, I'll be home later. So like literally she's asking him all these questions and he's like, nope, didn't say anything.
Yeah, he's good on that.
Yep, didn't say a thing.
They're just sitting there talking in blissful silence.
They're just sitting there silently drinking.
To like-minded individuals.
Yeah. You feel like there's a mind meld of some kind going on.
Some weird stuff, yeah.
Okay, so now we transition back to Rainy Street, and Dale and Bill are trying to pick up a beer can with the backhoe. So anything and everything but digging. You know, they just want to try to do these tricks.
Not? There's a bunch of those on the internet that you can find.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's one where they take a backhoe and a Bic lighter. And they use the claw on the dump bucket, on the dig bucket, and they went like that and flicked it and held it down the gas, and they managed the lighter to light and flick. That's it's crazy precision. That's people that OSHA probably doesn't like. Somebody had to do something unsafe to test that
people just like Dale and Bill here, you know?
Yeah, somebody had to do something unsafe to
maybe
to
a little smarter. So all we see is the beer can sitting on the street and the dump bucket coming down to get it. And you hear Dale saying, more. And then Bill's like, is it open? And he misses the can and literally digs a hole in the pavement, like in the street.
Yeah,
he digs a hole in the street.
They're menaces right now. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
He goes, is it open? Dale goes, almost, try again. And then Hank comes up and he goes, what are you doing? Get out of there. Get out of there. Did you stop to think that maybe the backhoe wasn't the best tool for opening up a beer can?
It probably wasn't.
Bill goes, yeah, Hank, I did. And then Boomhauer walks up and literally trips in the hole, falls right into the stupid hole.
Yeah.
And so Hank catches him, and Boom says, oh man. And, and immediately Dale points at it and goes, Hank did it. God damn, Dale.
Yeah,
he's a terrible friend. He really
terrible.
is. Hank says, what would you guys think if someone had a beer with us out here? Bill goes, like someone just wandering over, like a stranger? Bill goes, or Hank says, no. This guy I know, he's a good guy. Dale's like, it's a big alley. Then up drives Hal, and Bill says, boy, Hank sure does seem excited. Hank comes over and gets him and goes, Hal, this is Dale, Bill, and Boomhauer. And now we finally hear some actual words from Hal.
Actual words, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, hey, fellas, and Boomhauer, yo. He says, say, look, Hank told me about your situation, and I was thinking you could just use a metal detector to trace the pipes back to your tank. Well, Dale thinks this is the funniest thing ever. He's like immediately threatened by this guy. You can tell. He goes, a metal detector. The detector would go off constantly due to the high level of extraterrestrial alloy in our soil, which acts as a homing beacon to the Martian capital of city. Which I just love that. City. Hank just kind of laughs, because he's literally almost immediately embarrassed by his friends. He says, yeah, that's a good joke, Dale. Dale sure can tell a joke. Hal comes back with, hey, on the way over, I passed this huge track hoe, 14-tonner. What do you say we go check it out? Dale's like, sorry, we got business to transact. Hank's just like, I'll go. And they just leave,
Yeah.
So later we see all the guys standing in the alley. They got nothing else to do but just stand there, drink, and wait on Hank to come back.
That's like, it. They're counting down the minutes and the hours until
it's
their
like there's
leader
a
comes
gear
back.
and a watch missing or
it's
something.
Like he's their fierce leader or something.
Oh, he is definitely their fierce leader.
We will take you to our leader.
City.
From the city.
We hear Bill, everybody's looking at their watches. He goes, Hank's going to come back now. Dale goes, nope. He goes, now. Nope. This dang old pathetic, man. Don't we get better things to do sitting around and dang old talking about later? And he just walks off.
He's pissed.
So Boomhauer's pissed. Bill says, I'm surprised Boomhauer stayed as long as he did. And that is our first commercial break. So we will take it, and we'll be right back. Well, let me tell you, Rusty, eating healthy used to be a struggle for me, but that was before I discovered the BlendJet 2 portable blender.
The BlendJet 2.
Now when fast food temptation strikes, I just blend up a delicious and nutritious protein shaker smoothie. They gave us a whole bunch of those little packages that came with the blender.
Yeah.
And there's some really good flavors in there. I mean, there's some like that matcha thing.
The green matcha?
Yeah, those are pretty damn good. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up smoothies at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. Maybe a human thumb. Don't put your thumb in it. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C, which has saved us all. There's nothing worse than turning that USB thing over and over and over and over, and then finally finding how it plugs in.
Oh yeah, I don't like that either. USB-C saved us all.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap, and you're good to go. There's 30 plus colors and patterns to choose from. There's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. We have a pink one. Lavender. I think ours is lavender.
Mine is the Toy Story Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Pizza Planet one.
Ooh, that one. Yeah. They've got some really cool colors, but I really like the patterns. I know one of the people here got one that looks like Woody the Sheriff.
Is there a code with them?
There is a code. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. Glab it today.
Glibbity glob.
And when you do glab it, make sure you use the promo code
BWAAA12.
That's to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code
BWAAA12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
BlendJet 2, formerly known as BlendJet.
Hey, everyone. It's me, your puzzle-loving pal. Did you know I was a puzzle-loving pal?
I didn't know you were a puzzle-loving pal.
I got to tell you about my latest obsession. It's Wongo puzzles. These things are the real deal. They are high quality, handcrafted, and perfect for anyone who loves a good challenge but doesn't want to dedicate their entire kitchen table to puzzles for a week. Trust me, I have been there. I will tell you this, my parents, they're very old and decrepit, and they do puzzles all the damn time.
Yeah.
Like there's always a table that has like an unfinished puzzle. Yeah, it's either that or, I don't know.
Die.
Feel your bones. So these puzzles, these Wongo puzzles, they are 100% wooden. They'll last forever. Each piece is hand drawn. just think about that for a second. Each piece is hand drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun whimsy pieces as you work through it.
Whimsy.
They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. You know, before we started doing this, I didn't realize how many people I know already have these Wongo puzzles. I mean, they're apparently pretty.
You can't go wherever Juan go.
With stunning designs and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. I loved doing the snow globe puzzle myself. It was great to pull out a puzzle and be done in a night and not have it on the table for a week. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to Wongo Puzzles, WONGO puzzles.com, and pick a puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code
BWAAA
for 10% off your order. It's the most fun you'll have with a puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to WONGOpuzzles.com and use your code
BWAAA
to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. And we are back from that wonderful commercial announcement. So now it's nighttime, and we see Hal drive Hank back up to his house. And of course they have the loveliest of parting words. Hank says, "All right then." Hal goes, "Yep." And that's literally it. He gets out of the truck drives off, and Hank kind of looks over and he sees people in the dark, pulls out a little flashlight he's got on his keychain, shines it at them. And you hear both of them just, "Ah!" Because it's almost like they're possums in the friggin' alley, waiting. Hank's like, "What are you guys doing?" Dale says, "Oh, so you care what we're doing, do you?" And Bill says he doesn't care. Dale says, "You said you'd be back in a minute. We waited a minute. Then we waited another." Bill chimes in with, "And then after about 1,000,000 minutes, I forgot why I was counting." Hank said, "Well, what's the big deal? You don't get upset when I come home late from work." Dale says, 1, we get very upset when you come home from work late, and 2, you were out with him. Bill says, Bill says, "Didn't you think Peggy might be worried about you being gone so long?" Hank says, "I called her." Bill says, "Yeah, well," and then Hank just turns off the flashlight and goes inside, and Dale states the problem. He says, "We're being phased out." Bill just says, "Out." It's rough, man.
It is rough.
He's
phasing out his buddies.
It seems to be rough on all three of them, but especially these two idiots. Okay.
I don't know.
So now we see inside the Hill house, and the weirdest thing, Peggy and Bobby are standing there playing slap fight with their hands, wherever you have to pull your hands out in
Artie's
time.
got me something for that. Hot hands, red hands, slapsy, slapjack, or red tomato. Apparently it started in northern Britain.
Really?
That's
People started slapping each other's hands in northern Britain.
I guess that's where it originated.
The game that took over the world. So Bobby, you hear him go, "Ah, ow." And then Peggy says, "Do not watch the eyes, Bobby. The eyes cannot be trusted." Bobby says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool on me." Ow! And he gets slapped again. Hank comes in. He goes, "Hey, Peggy, Hal just took me to the store that only sells fireplace hardware." Peggy says, "Fireplace hardware? Boomhauer must have been in hog heaven." Do we know that Boomhauer's got a thing for fireplaces?
I don't know.
I've never heard.
It's kind of funny though. He must have a thing for fireplaces.
He's got a thing for fireplaces.
It,
yeah. Hank says, "Yeah, well, I really didn't invite Boomhauer or Bill or Dale for that matter." And then you hear another slap. Bobby gets slapped on the hands. Hank says, "What part of the fun of the doing the house stuff is with somebody new. If the guys can't handle that, well, then that's why I don't tell them." And he's kind of right. I mean, what's their big beef?
What's the big beef with it? Yeah, like he's allowed to have other friends.
So now we transition to the next day. We see.
Well, I don't know. Maybe at that age, it's like they've all been friends since high school. So it's like, oh, you got a new friend? Like, we're not good enough. Like we've all been like this singular group for like 30 years, and now you got to add somebody new.
You do reach a certain age where you're like, yeah, I'm not making any new friends. I'm good. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah. I mean, I can make acquaintances, but friends that I actually hang out with, that's a little different.
Yeah, that is different.
So the next thing is the next day we see Hal waiting out front of his house for Hank to pick him up. He's kind of checking his watch. Hank pulls up, Hal. And Hal gets in. Of course, he puts his seatbelt on. They drive off. Hank says, so where's that bait and tackle shop you won't shut up about? Well, number one, neither one of them is not shutting up about something. I mean, they're just silent.
They're silent as hell. So, I mean, well, 2 or 3 words about something can be considered rambling on.
I have to assume he mentioned it once, Yeah,
and that was too much.
Yeah. Hal says, oh, false alarm, Hank. Went last night. They don't know a floater from a sinker, which, okay. He says, now you want to see a great news store, make a left at the light, and then go out to McManerberry. Sports shop that spins around. Used to be a restaurant.
The restaurant that they ate at, actually, according to Artie
is
here,
the same one.
Hank and Peggy ate there. As Old as the Hills. That episode is Old as the Hills.
Yeah,
that's
the same one, and now it's been turned into a sports store.
Yep.
All right, seems weird, but sure. So they are at the sports store, and then we see the Bugabago out to the side there, and we find that Bill and Dale are in there spying. They're watching the two of them.
Yeah, really weird.
He says 10:15, picks up Hal. He's talking into like one of those little cassette recorders, little voice recorders.
Yeah.
And Bill's like, what? And then he just holds it up to his ear and plays it back to him, and it goes 10:15. Hank picks up Hal. Anyway,
yeah, Hank and Hal,
just going back and forth. And then inside the spinning sports store, well, number one, you see both Hal and Hank standing there, and they have to wait for the thing to spin just right so they can walk down the aisle.
Walk down the aisle, yeah.
So it lines up. Hank says,
that'd be a terrible store.
So he goes, so this guy's trying to fill a service tank. Hal's like, uh-huh. And the drip lip vent is in the 6 o'clock position. Hal says, instead of 12 o'clock? Hank says, exactly. You sure you never worked in propane? He goes, that's a hobby, that's all. And then we see Dale again. He's got these giant binoculars out now, and he goes, I'm losing him slowly. So as the thing turns, he's losing sight of him.
Yeah.
All right, now we are at Earl's Guitars, which we have certainly seen before.
We've seen Earl before. Yeah, he's a crazy old guy.
Well, that's where he took Betsy to get it fixed,
took Betsy to get fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, and so both of them are sitting there with their acoustic guitars, and they're like tapping their feet and singing a song. And the night got deadly quiet, and his face lost all expression.
Yeah.
Said, if you're going to play the game, boy, you got to learn to play it right. And then
you got to know when to hold them.
Well, you get to that, but it's Bill. It's Bill in the Bugabago singing along with them because they can hear them. Yeah. So we've got a real stakeout going here with these two idiots. Dale says, when to hold them. And then it transitions a little later.
I was a highwayman along the coach roads I did right.
They're both singing the Highwayman song, and they don't realize that Hank and Hal leave. They don't even notice it. And so now we are we're back at the Hill neighborhood, and both of them pull up in the Bugabago into Dale's driveway. And they see the backhoe working over the fence, and they're both immediately kind of pissed. Bill's like, hey, what's that? There, over there. Dale's like, hey. And then they run over to see what's going on, and they see Hank and Hal come up to him, and Hal says, Dale, Bill. They don't speak. They're obviously pissed.
Super pissed.
Hank says, Dale, Bill. They still don't speak. And then Hal says, boy, I tell you, your tank's as big as a school bus. Laid in pretty nicely all the same. Bill says, all I see is trespassing. And then Hank and Hal's like, Hank, Hal. And then he just leaves. Dale says, that was our project. Hank says, you should be thanking me. Hal worked that backhoe as fast, so we're going to save a couple days on the rental, which, I mean, that makes sense, right? You rented the thing, you're going to save a couple days because he worked it really fast.
Save a couple bucks.
Yeah. Bill says, yeah, with that money you save, you can buy your friend a dozen roses. And Dale, of course, types in, now you're buying him roses? That's it, Hank. It's us or him. Hank says, you can't make me choose. Bill says, us or him. He goes, all right, him. Bill, taken back a little bit, goes, him means how, That's the way we phrase the question. And Hank just leaves. Bill says, you think we went wrong making him choose? Dale says, where we went wrong is not staying with that backhoe. Whoever controls the backhoe controls Hank. Bill's like, you think? He goes, yes, I do think. As long as we're, for lack of a better word, incompetent with the backhoe, we will be Hankless. Bill says, I know a place where we can practice. The Army's got an old minefield that no one ever goes out to. Wow, that is a bad idea, Bill. Dale says, don't be insane, Bill. We'll never get past security. Not that we might blow up. We just won't get past security. Yeah.
But knowing them, if they would have got on that minefield, that would have been the last of those two.
That's the last time you ever saw them.
They're the most incompetent of the bunch.
Dale says, but I know an abandoned pet cemetery. Abandoned pet cemetery, which is the craziest phrase. Wow. I know an abandoned pet cemetery with our names on it.
That's wild.
Next thing we see, we're at the pet cemetery. They've got the backhoe out there.
Pet cemeteries are wild just to think of as a concept period
it's
for me,
insanity.
too.
Yeah.
My backyard is a pet cemetery.
That's exactly right. And so we see them both out there. Bill is digging with the backhoe. Dale says, nice hole, Bill. He goes, thank you. May I? And then he says, please. And he lets him drive it. He goes, Nickel says I can pick that dandelion over there and bring it back here, blow on it, and make a wish. Well, bullshit. We know you can't do that. You couldn't get anywhere near the can. Bill is like, come on. And then they're both just like cheering each other on. Come on, honey pie. Come on, baby. Come on, sweetie. Come on, baby. And then finally Dale says, Bill, shift your weight. Lean forward, because he's trying to reach that thing. He says, all right. And then the next thing we see is the backhoe topples over and falls into the giant hole that they've dug, right? And then Bill says, maybe we could hold on to that tree branch and swing out of the hole like a monkey in the jungle. He grabs onto a tree branch. The branch breaks off, and the thing falls even further down. And that takes us to our second commercial break. We will take that, and we'll be right back. Hey, Rusty, did you know that you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee?
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned a bottle around to actually see what's inside. You know, recently I did, and I found out many of my favorite creamers, like especially the one my wife used to use, they contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, dipotassium phosphate, whatever that is.
Terrible.
Artificial flavors. I can't take artificial flavors a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm good on any flavoring.
They taste gross.
I don't like flavors in my coffee. I like the earth and flavor of coffee.
I mean, I love coffee. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. I just I don't like all that crap in my coffee, right?
Yeah, no, who does that?
So let me tell you about Laird Superfoods then. They have better ingredients, amazing taste, and functional benefits. Laird Superfood creamers are crafted from the highest quality, all-natural, real food ingredients. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. Now, they're all natural. They've got whole food ingredients. They contain naturally occurring MCTs from coconut oil. And everybody tells you coconut oil is good for you. Mm-hmm. There's no artificial flavors, no colors, no additives. No sugar from highly refined corn syrup. So that's a big deal right there. If you take one thing you do every day and make it better, Laird developed his creamer himself to stay powered for a day on the waves. He was a big wave surfer, Laird Hamilton was, and he needed a morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. So he made this creamer, and it is it's crazy, crazy good. Laird sources high-quality plant-based ingredients globally and puts an emphasis on U.S. sources whenever possible. They aim to source responsibly and sustainably and believe that the foods you consume should be as good for the earth as they are for you. They have honest and transparent products and labels. If you try it, you won't go back. They have functional superfood creamers, instant lattes, and prebiotic greens. They have a variety of snacks and supplements full of wholesome plant-based ingredients to keep you charged for wherever life takes you. So to get a deal on Laird Superfoods, I need you to go to zen.ai, BWAAA, King of the Hill. So that's zen.ai/BWAAA, King of the Hill. And your offer code there is BWAAA. So Laird Superfoods makes a better creamer that keeps you powered all day, and it's better for you, the earth, and your coffee. What do you say, Rusty? You want to go get some coffee?
Coffee.
Hey, Rusty?
Yeah.
Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue?
Oh, no.
I don't know about you, but like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall almost every day. I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, brain fog, but luckily there's a cure.
Oh, there is?
Actually, I should have said there's a solution. It's called Cure. Cure Hydration. The Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution, or ORS, that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes. You know how important that is because plants crave it.
Super important.
And glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt. Whoopee. And it is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO. That makes it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions and preferences. The packets that they give you, they're convenient, they're easy to use. You just mix them with water and drink. They're perfect for on-the-go, travel, or anytime you need quick hydration. Hydration is more than just drinking water, Rusty. It is, that's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. I've known people like that. My wife drinks so much water, it's crazy. Lauren found Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mix to make hydration easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they only use the highest ingredients and quality plant-based stuff to avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. So are you ready to combat dehydration?
Absolutely.
You can try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use your code
BWAAA. Sorry, I blanked.
You're good. For 20% off your order. Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use our special code
BWAAA
for 20% off your order. Your coupon will be activated at checkout. Try Cure Hydration. Stop drying out. All right, and we are back for the rest of this episode. We've got Bill and Dale stuck in a backhoe in a hole in an abandoned pet cemetery. We've got Hank not knowing where they're at, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, they're screaming.
They're just screaming for help. Yep. And finally, Dale's like, forget it. No one can hear us. Or if they can, they don't care. He looks at Bill and says, you're lucky. You're in the Army. You got a tracking device in your teeth. They'll find you. And Bill says, I'll tell them where you are. Dale's like, you're good people.
You're good people.
Tracking device in your teeth. All right, so now we go back to the Hill house. Hank is on his landline phone, standing there in the kitchen. Peggy and Bobby are over there cooking, and we overhear Hank's conversation. He goes, Hal, it's Hank. Beer? He goes, sure. Well, no, that won't work. My wife will have dinner ready in an hour, and you're over 20 minutes away. Yeah, next time. And he just hangs up. And he says to both of them, so, Bobby, it's been a while since we've had a shoe shine party. And, of course, Bobby's like, I'll get my box. And he runs off. Peggy says, Hank, you don't really want to watch Bobby shine your shoes. He goes, honey, why don't you go out into the alley and have a beer with the guys? He says, all right. But what about Bobby? She says, well, it's Spa, Peggy, and Meatballs night. This is the first time we hear about Spa, Peggy, and Meatballs, right? We haven't heard about Spa, Peggy, and Meatballs yet.
She said it before, yeah.
Has she? It's Spa, Peggy, and Meatballs night.
Which is just spaghetti. That she just
all it
calls
is.
Spa, Peggy, and it's probably shit, I imagine.
She's like,
it's probably not good.
Well, I'm sure it's a jar of ragu.
Probably not even ragu. It's probably like Classico or something. It's probably just something random.
Hill Country Farms.
Yeah, Hill Country Farms.
It's probably, and actually I like this. You know those canned Hunts?
Oh yeah, the canned sauce.
Yeah,
but those can be good if you season them.
Yeah.
After you put them in the pot. I think she even seasons it.
Oh no, I doubt it very seriously. Thinking about her brown Betty. Yeah. I don't think she seasons anything.
Oh no, you know what she does? She puts brown sugar in it.
Oh, that's probably right.
No,
yeah, it's probably sweet. Oof, gross.
Yeah.
And so she says, since it's Spa, Peggy, and Meatballs night, you do not have to worry about Bobby. So next thing we see Hank going out to the alley, and we very rarely see this. He's carrying a six-pack.
Yep.
We don't see him carry around beer very often. He's out there looking for the guys. Boomhauer walks up, and he goes, Boomhauer? He goes, all right. He just kind of, he's pissed off at him too. We never really see how pissed off Boomhauer is until right now. He goes, Hank says, well, it used to be a lot more lively around here. Yep. So, got any big dates? And this is when Boomhauer snaps at the most unlikely time. He says, man, they don't leave me alone, man. I'm talking about them old questions, man. All them question, man. Nothing like dang old mother and mine. Boomhauer, when you going to get married? Make me a grandmother. No, they don't, man. And just walks off.
He just walks off like, pissed.
He has this explosion of mumbling and just walks off. All right, now we go to the pet cemetery at night. This
is a funny-ass joke,
There is a red-eyed, beady rat looking down at him. Bill, they are, I'm assuming it's gotten cold because they're spooning in the cab of the backhoe. Bill is the small spoon and Dale is the big spoon. And Dale says, "An exterminator in a pet cemetery. I have many enemies here." And Bill's just sobbing. I mean, he's just literally sobbing. Okay. Now we transition to Hal and Hank in what looks like a park. And they've got both their trucks there, and they're standing behind the trucks, and they're just drinking beer like Hank does in the alley. And I'm assuming it's because this is like halfway from here where Hal lives and halfway where Hank lives. So they're kind of meeting in the middle.
Which is funny.
Hal says, took me 17 minutes to get here. Hank says, took me 18. Maybe tomorrow we can meet, I don't know, that Exxon over there. That ought to even things out. Okay, who cares, Hank?
That's funny.
Hal says, "Oh man, I don't know. I only get a 45-minute lunch hour." That's a weird thing
funny,
to say. Yeah.
Well, no, because you got to think though. You only get 45 minutes for real, because you get 15 minutes to get there and get back. You got to have leeway.
Well, I always think this misnomer like that for a lunch hour, which often is only 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, and then you go into a bar and you see happy hour. It'll be like from 3 to 7. Yeah. Well, that's not an hour. That's way more than an hour.
Well, I think it's more of, and you're right, Rusty, but I think it's also more like he probably follows that 15 minutes early is on time thing.
Oh yeah. Well, if he's anything like Hank, yeah, absolutely.
15 minutes is on time, so he only goes 45 minutes instead of
the
whole hour.
Yeah, I don't doubt that one bit.
People I work with they make an hour into an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He says, I don't know. I only get a 45-minute lunch hour. Let's try getting together tonight. Hank says, I don't know. By the time I get home from Strickland Propane and come down from the day, all the excitement of selling propane. Yeah. He goes, let's shoot for next Saturday. Hank says, oh no. Saturday is Bobby's football game. And I love this. Yeah. Saturday is Bobby's football game. And he really likes me to watch it with him.
Watch it with him because he never gets to play. Yeah.
It's not Bobby in a football game. He just wants to watch a football game. So they're both like, okay. And then Hal finally goes, well, I guess that's it then. Hank says, yeah, well, take care of that truck of yours. And then they both just toss the cans in the back of the truck and they leave. That's it. Hank looks in the rearview mirror because he's got the Gambler playing on his radio. He goes,
know when the hood.
He just says to himself, I'm going to miss that crazy bastard. Like he was just a goofball, just a nut.
Homoerotic undertones in this one.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. All right, we're back at the pet cemetery. We see vultures circling in the hot sun over the hole that the backhoe is in. And then we get Dale saying, we invested all that time and effort in Hank, and he's forsaken us. Bill says, well, everything forsakens me. I mean, sometimes I think I should just stop putting myself out there. And Dale says, we don't need Hank. Now, I want to point out that they have been in this thing for one night, right? They've been in this hole for one night. There are flies everywhere. Bill and Dale both look like they've been in the jungle for a month. They're just dirty and disgusting.
It's only been overnight, yeah.
Their stubble's all grown out. I mean, they look terrible.
Rough.
And the flies are what got me. There's so many flies down
buzzing
there
all around their head and everything.
Oh my God. Bill's got his shirt off and tied around his head like he's in the noonday sun or something. Dale says, we don't need Hank. We're two beta males at the top of our game. Beta males, not alpha males, beta males. Yeah. And Bill says, and you didn't mention that we're lovable. I've got a lot of love to give. He goes, I know. Oof. All right. Next thing we see is Bobby shining some shoes. And Bobby is obviously into this role play of a shoe shiner. He goes, how's the market been treating you, sir? I took a pretty big hit today. I got worries. Then we hear the door. We hear a knock at the door. Hank gets up. Of course, his shoes are the ones being shined. And then we see Jimsy. I don't know that we ever see Jimsy again, but Jimsy from Jimsy's Equipment. So a lot of thought going into those names.
Yeah, a lot of thought. Oh, Jimsy, huh?
He says, hey.
I don't.
Yeah, we never see. I don't think we ever see Jimsy again. He goes, hey, how are you? You want to have a beer? Because at this point, Hank is like into making new friends, you know?
Yeah.
Jimsy says, I want my backhoe. He goes, it wasn't returned by Dale Gribble or Bill Dotrieve? He goes, no. And so now we go back to, or we kind of go into this montage where Hank starts looking for the guys. You know, first thing he does is he goes to Con's house. Con comes and he goes, I saw him drive off in a joyride with backhoe. You mean they missing? And then he calls out the men. He goes, man, hey, man, 2 down, 1 to go, or 2 down, 2 to go.
2 down, 2 to go.
It's rough.
That's terrible.
So now we get kind of a montage, and I had to write my extra notes on the back all about the montage.
Okay, here we go.
I tend to get ahead of notes. I tend to get ahead of myself. There's your montage.
There we go.
So he's driving around and looking. He pulls up to a bunch of guys sitting on a fence. They're also drinking beer, kind of in an alley. And he shows a picture of the 2 guys to him. They all just like shake their head. Then he shows a picture of the backhoe, and they all know that it went this way. You know?
Yeah,
they all
point in the direction that it's going. It's like a Benny Hill montage.
And then Hank drives a little more, and he looks at the fence, and then he looks over to the other side and just sees destroyed fence everywhere. So he knows exactly where to go because they drove right through the damn fence.
They drove through everything that they weren't supposed to.
And then
couldn't even drive on the road.
So he continues to drive after seeing the destroyed fence. He knows which way to go. He finally ends up at the pet cemetery. He gets out. He's looking around. He follows the tracks in the ground all the way over to the hole where the backhoe is. And he just kind of looks down into the backhoe. And we're hearing from Dale. He's talking to Bill down there in the hole. He goes, there's got to be something to eat in that box. Hank just kind of chuckles and he goes, looks like a fun project. And they both just kind of groan and look up. Dale says, it's none of your business. We were just on our lunch break, which is over. So if you don't mind, we'll be getting back to work. Bill says he's with the backhoe still in the hole. He goes, yeah, that's good. Did you see it move? And like they're trying to, make it move and stuff. Hank says, all right, well, I'll get out of your hair. But before I go, I'm curious, what's the best way of driving out of that hole? I mean, you guys have more experience with this machine than me. He goes, what do you think? Would it be better to widen the hole beyond that tree than extend the boom plant and bucket, let out the outriggers, then release and replant the bucket? And Dale says, well, we'll humor your little experiment, but you have to slow down. So like he didn't even follow the plan.
Nah, he didn't even care.
Hank says, on your left there, pull the extender as far back, and Bill puts his hand on it. He goes, left, is it? He goes, yeah, the lever closest to me. Take that in your hand. He finally does. He goes, good. Then everybody's groaning. They're trying to get out of the hole. And then they finally do what Hank says. The backhoe is up and out of the hole. These guys are safe. They fall out of the cab with Bill saying, oh, my legs. They both fall down, and Hank says, well, you haven't moved in 50 hours. 50 hours! So it's been 2 days.
50 hours in the hole.
It's been 2 days in the hole.
Golly.
And so Bill says, thanks, but no thanks, Hal's friend. Dale says, where's Hal? Huh, Hank? Hal's gone? They realize that their friend is back because Hal is gone.
Yeah.
And he says, yep. He goes, all right, let's go. And then he's kind of trying to help Bill get back up because Bill's on very shaky legs.
Very shaky legs, like a newborn baby deer.
Right. They both get him back up. Dale says, you think you can ignore me for 2 days and then act like nothing happened? Hank says, all right, look, you guys are something Hal will never be, my neighbors. And Dale, that's enough for him. Apology accepted. I mean, just immediately. Bill blows his nose. He's crying. He goes, all right. Hank says, you're very delirious. And then
Bill says friendship is our country's sweetest
wine. Yeah, and then they both help him up. And then Dale comes back with, so I was thinking on the backhoe rental, your friend Hal should chip in. I mean, he used it too. Hank says, I can put you back in the ground. And then that's it. We go to credits.
And then the noise is Dale's.
Well, the nice thing I like is that they get into the backhoe and they drive it off, and they literally drive it off into the sunset.
Yeah, it's a very
sweet,
cute moment.
Very, very sweet. We get our credits, and then after the credits again, like you said, we hear.
Yeah.
So it's just Dale making alien sounds.
Dale doing the alien noises.
And that's it, man. That is season 4, episode 8, Not in My Backhoe.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Thank you guys for being here once again. We really appreciate it.
Also,
we love. By the way, sorry, we love the emails that you send. We got another one this week. We'll go over that on the Friday episode.
Oh, cool. I was wondering what we were doing for Friday. I think Mike had something for us.
Yeah, we'll go over that and kind of talk about some of the stuff that he talks about in the email. literally, I feel like Bill now. I'm going to tear up here, but I love our fans. I love the people that interact with us.
It's awesome.
Jordan,
stuff.
You're the best.
You know what
Artie,
else I love?
You're the best. I mean, it's just fantastic.
I love all the Britons, the Britonians, the Britannians.
Britonians.
The Britons that are watching. We are in the top 200.
It's great.
On Apple Podcasts for TV reviews in Great Britain. We're in the top 250 in Canada, and we're in the top 100 in the United States
Canada's
of America.
not a real place. So. Is Canada a real place?
Yeah. And the Animation Conversation is the #1 animation and manga podcast in Croatia right now.
Ah, Croatia. Thanks, Croatia.
And #6 in the leisure category of podcasts.
Leisure category.
Actually, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So in that category, the top ones are I don't know, some iHeart Radio show, some BBC show, and we're like right there with them,
nice,
but in Croatia.
Very nice.
So
not this show,
not this show,
but Animation Conversation.
Animation Conversation,
the one you do with them.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again for listening. We really appreciate it. You guys that are watching, thanks again. If you get a chance, go to patreon.com/bois and check out the Patreon. We would love your support. We really appreciate it. It does cost us money to do this show, and anything you give can help. You want to tell them where else they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us at bwaaaakoth.com.
There it is.
Or
and we'll be updating that site.
You can find us at roguemedianetwork.com as well.
roguemedianetwork.com.
No problem.
All right, guys. We'll see you on Friday. Thanks again for being here. We really appreciate it.
Wimatanye.
Wimatanye, indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.